It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's the Latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
People love chips and salsa.
What is up, everybody? Zeke Rodriguez here with the Chips and Salsa Show, along with my companion, my friend, the amazing, the awesome
Alice Lara here to guac it with you, boy.
Thank you so much for being here, Alice. Always a pleasure hanging out with you, talking politics, talking local politics, talking about what's going on, guys. So first of all, before we jump into it, I want to thank everybody for all the amazing support that we've gotten online, on Facebook, on Instagram. I mean, I am just elated by how much support that we've gotten. We work really hard to get this information to you guys, and to see you guys respond to it so positively, it warms my heart. It warms my heart with delight. So with that being said, we want to open up today. Alice want to open up today with Mr. DeSantis. What are you thinking about Mr. DeSantis, Alice?
Well, that's the big news of the day. And thank you for thanking all the chipsters out there, chipsteros, chipsterinos, and everything, because they are rocking. And, text me, do whatever, because we love hearing from you. So, of course, the big news, and as soon as I heard about it, I texted Zeke right away. DeSantis is out. He's out. And the big question now is the next person. I mean, we're still going to have, New Hampshire is the next caucus?
Right, yep.
So Miss Nikki is still in the race. And I was just talking to you right before the show that there was a young man that had a little video clip. And I don't think he was even 30. And very intelligently, he was very articulate. And he just went right up to her and he said, well, you're spending a lot of money. You're not going to win. Why are you doing this? This money could be better used and better sourced. And her response, I don't know that it was a very great one. And he said, you could be helping veterans. You could be doing this. And of course, there's certain things that you can do with your campaign money. There are restrictions. But still her answer was, well, did you know my husband was a veteran? And then she kind of just walked away from him too. And I thought, woman, you are a presidential candidate. Republican, you're smart. I mean, it was kind of a letdown for a response, but at the same time, I think it was a lot of truth that he held up to her.
Right.
And I was telling you too, I had a little bit of that experience. Should I share that?
No, yeah, it's kind of a Democrat thing. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I think you're right. So last year, 2 years ago now, when Ferrari was running, she happens to be my state representative. And it was after a forum. In fact, you were at that forum because you were running against her, which you did an excellent job. This dude's a great debater, really great.
Master debater.
You run again? I'm not going to say that because I'll say it wrong. And so afterwards, I didn't chase her down, but I wanted to ask her was something more about the pro-life. And she grew very frustrated. I was very nice and polite. You know me.
Yeah. She's a
I
sweetheart.
could be nasty, but I don't want to be because I don't want people to be that way with me. And she just said, well, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Now, guys out there really, anymore what we should do is stand our ground because we are the bosses. You would never treat your boss like that. And kind of the same with Nikki Haley. We're in charge here. The respect should be there. So the next thing is, Nikki, when is she going to get out? We're wondering about that. DeSantis, smartly so, has thrown all his support to President Trump. The only thing that he did do, and you probably saw this, it was a pretty nice speech, and he was saying, being very realistic about it. And he had to mention, of course, and throw it in there, that's where the sanctimonious comes in, that, well, he did a better job with the vaccine stuff in his state, and that Trump kind of gave Fauci too much power. But going back there, and I'm going to toss it to you in just a second.
No, yeah, please.
But when Fauci was there, I remember back when President Trump was there, and, it'd been 100 years since anything like this had happened. And Fauci was touted as the expert and the person that knew everything. I mean, when things like that happen, you have to make the best decision and use your best judgment possible. So I thought, I wished he would have handled that maybe just a little bit with more finesse, but that was kind of his little jab in there. I mean, do you think that was necessary? Did you see his response afterwards?
As far as with Trump,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing about with Trump is he came back and fired back at DeSantis right away. He's like, look, when he was in Congress, he never even mentioned the border once. He's not a border guy. He's like, I'm the one that ran on the border, and I actually closed the border. When DeSantis had the opportunity, he didn't do anything about the border. And he, Trump never really admits to his falters with the lockdown. That's the one thing. He's not perfect in a lot of ways, and he didn't handle the lockdowns all that well. Although I do remember him wanting to do things his own way. He was doing the different types of remedies besides the vaccine, the Jabarewski. But he got so much resistance, and it's almost like he had no choice to go with. I mean, Fauci was on like Time magazine. He was like the most popular, amazing human being on earth at that time. So it was really hard to refute him and his campaign. I think Trump did the best that he could. Could he have done a better job? Yeah, of course. I mean, in New Mexico alone, we were the last state to unlock, and we got freaking decimated by those freaking lockdowns. So yeah, we felt it here more than anyone. But yeah, so Trump did a good job, I think, coming back at DeSantis, because Trump knows that people care about the border, especially now more than ever. He's like, oh yeah, you want to criticize me? How is your position on the border? It's like nil. It's like nothing. And
especially at that time, what Trump also did, he threw the power to the states. He didn't have a national lockdown. And I remember him telling the public, if you don't want to take the jab, you don't take it. He wasn't forcing it on them. You're so right. And the border, yes. DeSantis, he did pretty good, but he could have jumped in harder. Right now the border is such a mess. And on that, it's a little segue into this. Thank you very much. You took me right where I wanted to go. All of a sudden, Mr. Biden is talking about, well, the border is not secure. Where have you been, buddy? I mean, I guess he thinks that the majority of Americans, and I hope we're not, are that ignorant and dumb. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he's contradicting Mayorkas, who's saying the border's fully secure. Now the Biden's like, all of a sudden, well, there's a border problem. Because you know what, guys? At the end of the day, the Democratic Party is freaking done. The Gen Zers are voting Republican now. All the blacks, all the Hispanics, Trump's got it all. And the Democratic Party really has nowhere else to run at this point. So Biden has to cave on the border, because it doesn't matter what party affiliation you are. We all know that the border is a huge freaking problem. And just real quick, because I want to crawl back to, DeSantis, bowing out gracefully and supporting Trump, which is smart for the future of his career. Same thing with Vivek. That's why Vivek was like,
yes.
I got to back out, because if he doesn't, he kept pushing against Trump, we would have remembered that and we would have punished him later. So it was kind of a survival thing on DeSantis' part. But the main thing with Haley, it's like, look, and nobody talks about this online enough, and I know why. It's 'cause Trump won Iowa. So typically when you win an Iowa caucus, it's by about 13 points, 15 points. Trump got 51 freaking points, dude. That's the most majority
right? Yeah.
in American history. Okay? So that means that Nikki Haley has goose eggs of a chance of winning. Why she's still in the race is beyond me. And I know there's a lot of ground support here for Nikki Haley in this state, which is to me insane. But to go back to the border stuff, right? That's what we're getting into. We got to fix it, guys. We got to fix it. The Democratic Party is now, the Democrats that I know, they understand it's a big problem. We don't talk about it enough here in our local politics, but man, that's something we got to figure out. And if they don't figure it out and they don't start getting behind these basic common sense stuff as far as the border is concerned, you can consider the Democrat. I think, personally, I'll make a prediction right now, Democratic Party is going to be done in about 5 years, completely done.
Well, and the Democrats also, it's so refreshing because you see more and more things online. You're more online and more in tune with things than I am. But when I see the younger generation, younger people, minorities, Latinos, the black population, and they are seeing them. And even my good friend AJ, shout out to you, buddy. He sent me an article, and it was by a very left-wing writer. And basically, the whole thing, as she's writing about in the theme, she says, Biden is turning into that monster that they said that Trump was going to be if he got elected. Mm-hmm. So, again, I don't like to use the term woke, but they have awakened and come to reality to see what's actually out there. Because you can only deny the facts so long. Now, what's her face, the spokesperson for Biden, KJ, is that her?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
And she's still, man, she's like the professional liar. She still keeps, whenever she starts saying, well, what I can say about this or what I'd like to say about that, those are like trigger words, aren't they? That means I'm about to tell you a lie and kind of finesse it so you'll believe me. That's how I always think. Yeah, she does that a lot.
It's scary how bold-faced they lie to us, and I think the American people are waking up to it, and we're sick of it. We're sick of it. We're all gravitating towards authenticity, towards genuine talk, and that's what the Republican Party on the Trump side is representing. So there is infighting with the Republican Party right now. You know,
Certainly.
I put a post up earlier. Basically, there's a section of the Republican Party that's MAGA. That's like the majority of it. There's a section of the Republican Party that's, you know, like the Wall Street people. That's for like Nikki Haley, right? And it's like a lot of infighting going on right now. And the Democrat Party's in conniptions too. They're having a lot of infighting as well. So as the country is kind of like, we're pretty divided right now. But as I'm seeing the momentum that Trump is getting, more and more people are coming together. Like he was at a speech the other day at New Hampshire. Man, they didn't stop cheering for the guy. It almost brings tears in my eyes. How, like, to see people actually come together, cheer for a common message and a common goal, and that are freaking happy. Man, I hadn't seen that since Trump was in office, you know?
He still has the energy, and, you know, for he's 77, right?
77.
That just his wit's there, his mind is still sharp. Now, of the DeSantis vote, how do you think that's going to be split? Because a lot of people were for DeSantis just kind of as an anti-Trumper. I mean, do you think that most of that, I'd like to think that most of the DeSantis vote will be going for Trump because DeSantis is endorsing Trump. But I can't help but think there might be a pretty good percentage that won't. What do you think?
I think they're all going to go to Trump. I mean, we're at a very dangerous time right now as far as politically, because there's a part of the Republican Party that is so focused on international war. It's like the Bush-style freaking, how do you say, establishment Republicans that are at war with the new MAGA Trump-style Republicans. And at the end of the day, they're going to have to bend the knee and go with the majority populace. These new Republicans, these newer conservatives that are involved with the party now are taking over. So we're going to see some sparks fly in the very near future. I don't see any other way around it. But with the numbers, we got the numbers. So It's either play ball with us and have some conservative movement, or you're going to vote for Biden again? Pff, get out of here.
Well, unlike Vivek, I felt like, 99% of his support definitely will go to Trump.
Mm-hmm.
DeSantis, I just think it's my experience. Some people that I've talked to who were so hardcore DeSantis, and it was because they were anti-Trump. Maybe they'll relent. I mean, I'm hoping in the end they're going to say, well, I can't go Democrat. I can't go left. Whoever runs over there. There's already, they're talking again about, well, maybe Michelle Obama is going to be put in there or something.
Ouch.
But something has to happen soon. We're already going to be February, and the election's in November. All the caucuses are starting. The Democrat Party, they're just in an. I don't even know who is the head of the Democrat Party. Do you even know?
Yeah, John Podesta.
Podesta is?
Yeah, Podesta's still in charge of the Democrat Party, to my understanding, yeah.
Have you seen him talk or say anything? Of course,
No.
Rana hasn't either.
No, no.
And you wonder how much impact the parties are really going to have.
I don't know. I just don't see the Democrats pulling out anything at this point. They're going to be in a fight or flight mode, and this is where we start looking at World War. We're gearing up for World War. That's all over the place right now too. China's ramping up things against Taiwan. We've got Israel still in the mix. We've got the Ukraine and Russia. So all this international stuff is brewing hard. But meanwhile, I see the American people coming together and doing a lot of amazing stuff. I mean, they're, just here and locally, people are getting motivated. So that being said, talk about bringing people together and positivity and love. Let's talk about Argentina and Javier Milei. What do you think about that?
Oh, that guy. Well, you sent me his speech. And that guy, I just love him. He's like a Trump Jr. almost.
Better than in a lot of ways. I don't know. I mean,
well, he's younger and he's got a lot of fire. He's saying all the right things. And I love that he, like Trump, he takes you back into the little history lessons. Here's what happened. Here's where we're headed. Talks about capitalism, And
Yeah.
I was very impressed with that speech.
Yeah, that speech is designed to change the world, guys. I mean, Javier Milei, if you guys don't know, he's a world-renowned economist. The guy has written several books on economics. He's basically an economic genius, and he's a soccer player on top of that. So he's a fit athlete dude who's like super high IQ. And basically what he said in the speech, I'll run it down for you. He basically says, look, as an economist, I've studied, human growth and GDP over the past, since zero, since before Christ. He's studied it. And it's just been flat and stagnant. It wasn't until 1776, until America was founded and we spread capitalism throughout the world, that we saw a huge influx, a huge inflection point of economic growth with capitalism. And that was derived from God, from family values, from the Bible, and just community. And he basically says, look, we adapted capitalism in 1860, And within 35 years, Argentina was one of the top power countries in the world. And it wasn't until like the early 1900s when they started taking on socialism, which is when Rockefeller actually had to spread out his monopoly and had the most money in the world. With that money, he spread socialism. That's when Argentina started to fail. And you can look all through history, whatever country switches from capitalism to socialism, collectivism, they start to fail miserably. And that's just economics 101, guys. To act like there's still a chance for socialism and communism to win, or that it's just like hasn't been done right, is just sheer idiocy. I'll just say it, guys. And he lays it on people thick at the World Economic Forum. And we just need to listen to this guy who knows what he's talking about. He's a leader of an amazing country, Argentina. We got to get away from this, socialism, communism way of thinking, guys. It doesn't work at all. It's actually bad for humanity. We know that for a fact now.
Do you know if Trump and, how do you pronounce his name?
Milei.
Okay. Have they met or had a meeting together?
Yeah, oh yeah. So Javier Milei has spent a lot of time with Roger Stone, and Roger Stone is like Trump's biggest confidant, most important right-hand dude. So, and I know Javier Milei's read Roger Stone's book. He spent a lot of time with Roger Stone. So I don't know if him and Trump have met personally, but I know that Javier Milei was heavily influenced by Roger Stone.
I think that's great, and I really think it's necessary too, because whether we like it or not, in the future, South America, we have to partner up with our close nations for the future of everything. And especially now that we have how many millions of illegal aliens, that once Trump gets in, we're going to have to be dealing with that.
Yeah,
have to deal with that.
And I'm open, guys. If you guys are hardworking immigrants and you guys want to assimilate to our way of life and get into the Constitution and do your due diligence, we'll find jobs for you. We'll find we don't have to deport everybody. I mean, that just doesn't seem feasible at a certain level. But at the same time, I still have the opinion, because my family came over with the Braceros. My grandfather farmed the farms when the other guys went to World War II and fought. So I believe in immigration. I do. I don't want to be. I'm not one of those guys that's just going to like cut off our country, because I think we can bring in good people and benefit. We always need labor. Every country in the world needs labor. That's just a necessity for growth. The problem is that we're not even allowed to mine our own resources in this country right now. We shipped all of our jobs. I talked about last time. We shipped all our jobs overseas. We have all this oil and gold and cobalt here that we don't even mine. So we're going to need labor to do that. And with the American people the way they are today, ain't nobody trying to work right now.
No, it is an important topic, and we do have to have the rule of law is very important. And I always think about, what about the people that Biden came in, all of a sudden the floodgates are open, but other people that have been for years working on getting their citizenship, working on getting a legal status and staying here, it's a slap in the face to them. They need to be taken care of first. Mm-hmm. And then all the other ones. So all these people are just kind of dispersed now throughout our nation. Some, have hearings years from now. It's going to be a big cleanup, a big cleanup. I really have confidence with, if Trump gets in, he's going to be the best person to handle that. Is it going to be perfect? No, of course not. It isn't. And you and I would say 99.9% of Republicans, conservatives that I've ever met, we have always been very pro legal immigration, because that is what our country is based on. And we want, if you really believe in our country, I don't want you to bring your stuff here. It's just like when I lived in Arizona and the Californians would move to Arizona and they came and they enjoyed all the fruits of everything, but they wanted to turn it left. No. That's why we're successful, because we have a pretty good conservative base here, and it was right wing. So I don't want that to happen. And do you think, this is a good question, and I don't know enough people that are from other countries to ask this question. I know ones that are legal, but they usually come here as our ancestors, grandparents and great-grandparents, because they knew this was a better opportunity in a free country, and they had the best chances for success and to give their family a good life. And I'm thinking that some of the people that have come here illegally are maybe disappointed of the way things are here in our country, in some respects. What do you think?
No, for sure. I think people come up here and they realize that, especially if you're not assimilating, guys. Like, in case you didn't know, I'm not fluent in Spanish because,
No hablo español, usted.
Poquito. I speak a little bit, but my parents were ridiculed and criticized for speaking Spanish in school. They couldn't
do it.
They were chastised.
Even when I was in
your generation.
They didn't really, because the teachers didn't know Spanish.
And it was offensive.
Now it's different. Right? Now they understand. They didn't know Spanish. You can get in trouble. Yeah.
And they were ridiculed, so they didn't want me to go through that ridicule. And really, you can get offended by that, but really what it is they wanted the people that were coming from Mexico to assimilate to American culture, to the English language. And I get that now. Maybe they could have done it a little bit better in a way. And yeah, it's probably better if I did know Spanish. But at the end of the day, all we really want is people to assimilate to our culture, to our way of life. I mean, other countries don't let anybody in their freaking country. You want to go to a Muslim nation? Shoot, they ain't gonna let you in. Hell no.
Not going to happen.
No, they don't let anybody in, period. I mean, you got to go through this lengthy process, and you might be able to get in if you're rich. If you're rich, then they might consider you. Being rich is like the number one, qualifier. Then we'll look at your application. Here, it's like we got wide open. We want you to be poor. We want you to live off the government, which essentially just breeds communism and people, living off the government. People vote like that because they want to live off the government tit. And then it just weakens the workforce and just destroys our taxpayer dollars, and it's the fastest way to destroy a country, is to let people in. And on that note, I'm going to segue into a really bad idea really quick.
A really bad idea.
This is a really bad idea. If you guys watched Game of Thrones or any kind of like medieval times, say you're in your castle, okay, and you're getting overrun, you're getting stormed by the enemy. They're just rushing into your castle. And imagine your king says, okay, guards, take away the weapons of the townspeople in the castle as these people are storming in your castle. How bad of an idea is that? You're being overrun by the enemy, and your king says, we're going to take away all of our own people's guns while they overrun your castle. How bad of an idea is that?
It's a very bad idea, Mr. Second Amendment.
And that's what's going on in our own freaking state here in New Mexico. Our governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham.
Your girlfriend.
My girlfriend, she's all right. She's kind of pretty. Super evil, though. But besides that, she's taking the guns away while we're being overrun and ransacked by illegal immigrants and dangerous people. So it's just a horrible idea. I'm going to be in Santa Fe in the next few days, and I'm going to be harping on that point because what is the sense in taking away our guns, trying to take away our God-given Second Amendment right while we're being overrun and ransacked by hardcore, violent illegal immigrants? It's a horrible idea.
Well, you just even look at locally in Las Cruces and just about probably every city almost in the nation, they're understaffed with police.
Right.
So, and you should never really ever, it'd be great if you just knew that if you picked up the phone in 1 minute, a police officer was going to be there to protect you. But you should always be more self-reliant. And maybe you don't want to carry a gun. Maybe there's other things you want to do. But it is a really bad idea. And on that note, too, if you follow Julia Reese, who is on the crime committee for the Coalition of Conservatives in Action, there's hearings that are going to be in Santa Fe because there's quite a few bills about this and different things that they want to do. Don't they want to change the age of acquiring a gun in New Mexico to
they want to do
21?
A lot.
It's 18 now. So that means you're in the military. Okay, how does this work? You're in the military and you're 19 years old. You can't carry a gun. Because you're not allowed to. What's the deal?
Well,
It's like no common sense.
It's not commonsensical. Look, she's not doing anything creative here. Our local government isn't like these geniuses who are coming up with these ideas to help save us from whatever. Like they're just doing exactly lockstep what California, Oregon, and Washington are doing, which is basically states that have been taken over by China. So essentially, we're being taken over by China. The policies that they follow and that they adhere to are from the United Nations, which is essentially owned by China. What else would you do if you're trying to take over a country? You take their weapons away and you flood them with illegal immigrants. That's exactly how Rome fell, guys.
It's a very basic plan, and like I always believe, I really believe our state of New Mexico, which is barely over 2 million people, it's a perfect testing ground. It's a perfect testing ground to come on in here. Let's see how far we can get. They already did it probably when they had the COVID, right? Because you said we were the last state to shut down. I wasn't living here at that time.
We were the last state to unlock. That's right.
So I always think that they're just kind of looking over here, and it's too easy. There's so many people, so many Democrats still in our legislature. Now, one thing though, New Mexico still, there are a lot of Democrats, and they are Second Amendment people. And it gives me a little hope. But do you think that's going to be enough?
It gives me a lot of hope. There's some crazy Democratic legislators out of Albuquerque, and they always get behind the Hispanic females that push these crazy, far left agendas through. But I know a lot of hardcore Democrats that are in office. I'm not gonna say any names that are super pro 2A.
Can't say any names.
Can't say any names,
Come
but
on.
look, guys, we wanted to get a Billy the Kid picture back here because the Western culture, the Western folklore is so ingrained in our culture here in New Mexico. It's like, you can't take our guns away, dude. It ain't gonna happen. I mean, the Wild Wild West, that's what we're all about. The cowboys, duels in the middle of the freaking streets, this is it. New Mexico is the ground for Wild Wild West folklore. And we love our freaking guns here. And you ain't going to change that. It ain't going to go nowhere. You ain't taking our guns.
Not mine.
Not mine
What
either.
is it? From my cold dead fingers or something?
You can try.
Right.
You can try. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. You can talk to Democrats feel the same freaking way, dude. I'm speaking for a large part of our population right now.
But I really encourage you guys, even if you don't live in our state, you can still go and you can still support. If you go to Sarah Smith's Facebook page, I try to post stuff on my page, the Coalition of Conservatives in Action, and I think the last thing I posted, it was when all the hearings are going to be, all the different bills that were in there. And I encourage you, remember, you're the bosses. So you can email or you can do a telephone call and just say, listen, I don't like this bill that you're dealing with. This is a horrible idea. This is where I stand. And correct me if I'm wrong, Zeke, but I believe that for the bills to come before the legislature, isn't that in control of the governor? Like in Arizona, I think the speaker the House has to do that, and they have to go through committee and a whole process. But I want to say that I read that or I learned that. She's got too much control over our legislature.
Yeah, she has hardcore executive power. The way it's supposed to go is goes through committee, and then the lieutenant governor is the one who oversees and presides over the Senate.
Okay.
And so Lieutenant Governor has some say in what bills do and don't get to the executive's desk as well. Have we seen Lieutenant Governor currently do anything like that? No. I mean, I haven't seen anything out of Howie since he's been in office.
Probably just does what she says, I would think, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, this state is the most blue state in the country. So, but things are turning around, guys. I'm seeing more and more action towards freedom and more towards conservatism. And we're gonna see what's going on. I'm excited to get to Santa Fe this week because we'll see what the flavor is over there. Because I got calls from some gun store owners, and people are really concerned about these gun grab bills out there. So I'm gonna go up there and see what I can dig up and see how much momentum. I don't think they're gonna get that much momentum. I don't think so. I think I've been through this 2A thing before with the Democratic Party, and a lot of them they know that if they go anti 2A, they're not gonna win their next election. There's just no way.
And it's election year.
And it's election year. So you got Biden closing up the border. Cops are actually pulling people over now these days. So it's crazy how fast things change once we're in an election cycle, right, guys? The gas prices went down.
And did we talk about this? I just want to throw this in because I'm trying to remember who was saying this, but one of the ways that they've decided once Trump gets in there to, how are you going to, all these illegal aliens that are here, how are you can't deport them all like you just said. And they said one of the simple things that they can do is they start just doing simple traffic stop and violations. Somebody is driving too fast or whatever. They stop them because a lot of times that's when you'll find someone who's not here legally in this country. And I thought that's a real simple way. And just that was a deviation. I'm sorry from the gun stuff that we were talking about. But this Second Amendment is super important. In Arizona, next month we have the Second Amendment rally, and Riders USA.
Like that.
And I wish we had time to go up there. Don Jorge, so if you listen to Chips and Salsa Show Arizona, he'll talk about it probably on tomorrow's show. But it's huge, and they have people from all over the country come. And the other thing that people don't understand too, when you think about the Second Amendment, you always think about your guns, right? Your rifles and your guns, things with ammo. But you know what else? It's the right to bear arms. And I remember being so impressed because there was an organization there who also wanted to speak up for knives. You can't carry a knife because really that's you're armed. If you have, that's a weapon. Some people carry that as a weapon. So once they push that little envelope, it opens the door too much. And we have to be so protective of our amendments.
Yeah, I can't stress. I don't mean to interrupt. I mean,
No, I was done.
I can't stress how important the Second Amendment is, guys. I know people take it for granted. Like, these guys just want to hunt. These guys just want to get machine guns and shoot them off in the desert. Like, guys, straight up, the reason why this country was founded was because the Redcoats, the British, came to take our weapons. They literally came to our colonies and said, look, you need to give up your guns now. And we said, no. And they fired the first shot, and then we defended ourselves. So they're coming back for the guns, guys. So it's very, very symbolic for human freaking freedom to have our guns and to use those weapons against a tyrannical government. And here we have a tyrannical government trying to take our guns again. In a time where we really need them. We got,
Yes.
It's dangerous out there. We have the more crime and violence than ever before in American history right now, right? I mean, from what I understand, it's like dangerous times out there. You hear sirens going off like crazy in this city, and it never used to be like that. And I know it's like that all over the country too. It's not just here.
And this is, what are we, about 115,000 in Las Cruces?
Yeah.
So it's a small city. We can call it a small city or a big town. But absolutely. Just since I've been here, I've moved back. It's going on 2 years now. And it's not, of course, the little Las Cruces that I grew up in. That was maybe 50, 60,000 people. But it's really frightening. Even just down here, not too far away from where we are, there's some questionable, scary places that you think, I don't know if I'm going to be here at night by myself. And even in Phoenix, rarely was that the case. I mean, I had to go to a really, really bad area.
Oh, I love
before I
Arizona.
felt
And you go to Arizona and see freaking people carrying guns all day. It's a normal thing. It's just part of their culture. Open carry, have a gun. How do you not have a gun? They make fun of you for not having a gun over there. Seriously. I mean, and I love that spirit. And not only do people who have guns are like cool because they're like protected and stuff, but they're very knowledgeable about the Second Amendment, about the weaponry, and they're masters of that thing. And so I really enjoy the company of people who take pride in the Second Amendment, because you do have to understand the history behind it to really appreciate what it means to have that weapon. Because imagine back in the day, guys, like you wanted to just practice your own form of Christianity back then. When the colonies first were founded, if you wanted to practice a certain form of Quakerism, which is a different form of Christianity, they would hang your ass in the streets, okay? So it wasn't until we had freedom of religion and we had our own guns to where we can protect ourselves, to practice our own religion, just basic human stuff that we take for granted today. The guns is what gave us the ability to live a free life. And the Constitution, for Christ's sake, the Constitution is everything. It's based on God as well. So all that's being destroyed right now. God is getting taken out of our country, out of our schools. They're trying to take our guns away. I mean, freedom of religion, go to China. Go to China and try to practice Christianity. Try to be a Muslim. Try to be a Buddhist. See how that goes. Go to a Muslim nation and try to practice Christianity openly. Have fun with that, right? This is still the most free country in the world, and I take a lot of pride in that, and I love this country.
We are very free, and it's so important to keep that freedom, and we owe it. As you say, our freedoms actually come from God. And that's why when the left is trying to say that they're so constitutional, but yet they don't want to recognize God, I don't know how they're going to stand to make that even. I mean, how can they? They
don't. It's just they appeal to the communist style philosophy where there is no God. The only God is the state and the dictator of that state. That's literally their God. And so that's the mentality that they have. To them, to most hardcore far left Democrats, which essentially are progressive socialist communists, God is a joke. And they want to do everything they can to get rid of it so that they can have their freedom run on taking over this country. But it's funny to me because throughout history, the people who sell out their country are the ones who get killed first. They're the ones who end up suffering the most. I mean,
they leave themselves so vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, and then why would the new regime want to keep around hardcore traitors? They don't. They get rid of them. So they have their short-term freedom right now, their short-term power. But at the end of the day, if they don't pick freedom now, like this is it, this is the year to pick a side, you're going to be in worse trouble than us,
Well, it's so true, and that's we always talk about too, because I'm a boomer, you're a millennial, and then what's the next after
Gen Z?
The Gen Z.
The youngers. Yeah.
I think the Gen Zs are coming around as well.
Oh yeah.
I really do, and it's so refreshing to me. Now, what did Biden do recently too? Didn't he pay off a few more student loans?
None of that ever went through though, did they?
Well, I saw something and I thought, even if you wanted to at least just say, okay, you still owe so much money on your student loan, and guess what? We're not going to charge you interest anymore on it. But no, the dude wants to just pay everything off. And then, I don't know, you were helped because you were a veteran, and that's reasonable, and I'm cool, totally cool with that. I have a nephew, in fact, my nephew David, who wrote the theme song for our show, and he's Air Force also. And he said, yeah, well, if you want a free education, go into the service. And then after the service, you can get it
That's what I
paid
did.
for. But I worked my way through school. Thank you. It was First National Bank at that time. Now it's Wells Fargo. But I worked my way through school and did that. And, of course, tuition was not as much as it is now. But all the people that struggled and did that, it's so unfair to them. And I'm thinking, that might be responsible for some of the younger people just seeing the injustice. I hope it clicks in their brain, and I hope they're smarter than me, because it took me a while. I spent so many of my young years. I didn't really wake up till probably closer to my 30s.
Well, you didn't need to. Back then, America was kicking ass in the 80s and the 90s. Freaks. That was the good old days. Now these kids these days, they wake up, they go to college, they're like, oh shit, I got $100,000 in debt. There's no jobs waiting for me when I get out of college. The inflation's out of control. I can't even afford a car, much less a home. How can I have a family? I mean, these are the questions that run. I was young too. These are the questions that run through your head as a youth. And so they're like, okay, next best thing, vote conservative, change things up, get it back to the way it was in the 80s and 90s when my parents were living in the heyday. That's just common sense and logical. I think that's what these kids are coming to the conclusion to. It's what it is.
And it's the old MAGA, right? Make America great again.
Make America great again. And we really haven't had a chance to thrive as a species yet, guys. We've been fighting this same cabal that's been trying to take over humanity for centuries. It's like old money, the DuPonts, the Rockefellers, these guys, the Catholic Church, God, I love Catholics and stuff, but the Catholic Church has been pretty corrupt for a long time. They've been running the world with the global banks for a long time. It's the same people trying to take over humanity since before Christ, and here they are again trying to do the same thing. So we're at a standoff right now with the people who've been trying to take over humanity and the people who want freedom. Again, it was back in 1776. Well, it's back here again now, guys. We're alive. This is a crazy time to be alive.
And so if you've never followed politics, my husband and I were talking the day, Mark and I were talking about how long we have been following politics. And you have, for your age, you've been following a very long time.
Yeah.
But the hours and hours and hours that you have, and you just have seen so many things, just as you say, and you repeat. You follow the money trail. You learn the politics. Politics is, if you're young, you probably think, well, I really don't care about politics. It doesn't affect me. Well, yeah, it does. It actually does. And in more ways than you can realize.
It's everything.
And even have you've seen The Chosen? You've seen that?
No.
It's really very, very well done. But even if you follow The Chosen, and it's stories of the Bible seen through the apostles, they do a really good job with it. They do a really nice job with it. Politics, the Romans, and you follow all that. What is it? And again, what is the fight? Evil versus good.
It's good versus evil. Yeah, it's no longer. I hate to get all Republican versus Democrat. It's not even like that anymore, guys. It's good versus evil, straight up. We know who's on the side of pro-humanity, who's on the side of freedom, and who's not. Who's on globalist control, who's on the side of power and money. It's straight up. Money's not everything. And on that note, it's a good little segue. A friend of mine, Ben Luna, is running for U.S. Senate out of Alamogordo, out of Otero County. Now, I've had the pleasure of working with Ben Luna closely and intimately. We've done hardcore grassroots politics together. He invited me to be on a 33 counties tour where we traveled the state and spoke out against the lockdowns. We spoke out against the mask, which took a lot of balls at that time. There wasn't many people willing to do that. Ben Luna was the one that did it, and he's the one that invited me. So I got to know this guy on a close level. He's a man of God. He's a grassroots guy. He's a Hispanic male. I have a lot of respect for this dude. And so when he decided to run for U.S. Senate, I was like, I got your freaking back, bro. He's proven to me that he's someone that I trust with that type of position. And here we go. I'm not even going to say her name. But she's going to, and she's 72 years old, I think, which is okay. I don't mind people being old, but I've never seen her before. I know her name. Her dad's a very powerful former legislator, whatever. Never seen her on the grassroots level. Never seen her participate in the Republican Party. All I know, she's been like a hardcore executive in these like hardcore like multinational companies. That's her only experience. It's like, why would you primary a young Hispanic male that's a man of God, that's proven himself on a grassroots level that he's here for the people? Why would you primary him for a U.S. Senate spot?
Has anyone asked this person?
I want to ask her directly because it just makes me sick. Like, we need younger male Hispanics in the Republican Party to usher in the future of the state. And here we go. We got like this old school, basically Bush-style establishment Republican primary and an amazing candidate in Ben Luna, and it just pisses me off royally, guys.
Well, and I don't know him as well as you, Ben Luna, but he is an impressive guy. And everything that I've seen or experienced with him is very solid, conservative, Republican. Has this other person that you're speaking of, the opponent to be, been a Republican all her life?
I believe so. Her dad was a senator, U.S. senator, and a very well-known U.S.
I know
senator.
who you're talking about.
Yeah, and
I bet.
And that's fine, but it's like that's your dad, and he was in when it was like Bush era style Republicans, like the
And
Republicans.
that's suspect. Bring him out of the woodwork, like you say. Where have you
Yes.
been? Why haven't you been hanging around? You know, our country's been in trouble for quite a while.
And so that to me is what we deal with here in New Mexico, the Republican Party. We get really amazing candidates, and they get primaried, you know. And so what usually happens is the conservative vote gets quashed because there's infighting with the conservative candidates, and then the Democrat gets, you know, slides right in. How many times has that freaking happened? And here we go again, doing it again.
What kind of support do you think she'll be getting then? I mean,
Oh, she's already gotten massive support. I've got someone who's one of the most powerful political voices and fundraisers in the state reached out to me personally to support her and him in that race, and I replied very upset, like, why would I support her? Why would I support someone that's not been around? Yeah, they have access to a lot of money and capital, but there's things that are more important than money, guys. All right, money's important for survival. Money's important. Yes, we need it. It's instrumentally valuable, but we're talking about something spiritual. This is a spiritual war between good and evil, and Mr. Luna has proven to me that he's on the right side of things. I don't know who this chick is. Yeah, I know who her dad was, who he was, but I don't know her as a person, as an individual. She wasn't around here protesting the lockdowns and the masks the way that me and Ben were. She hasn't been on the grassroots level chairing the Otero County Republican Party. She wasn't just on Fox like he was. He was on Fox News, for crying out loud, the other day. You know, like, why would you do that? It's so self-destructive, guys, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. And Ben's got my support all day. I'm going to invite him on the show. We'll get him on the show so you guys can get to know him too. We'll blast the hell out of it so we can get him all the support we can get. Because this guy needs to win. I want him in there at the U.S. Senate spot. We need him in there backing up Trump. Senator is a powerful position, extremely powerful position, just the second to the president. You know, we need good, God-fearing U.S. senators in there, straight up.
I wanted to ask you, so currently our senator is Heinrich?
Martin Heinrich, for crying out loud.
Who challenged him the last time, and do you remember what the margin was that he won by?
Well, it's tough because U.S. senator spots are 6-year seats. So once you're in there for 6 freaking years, and that is the year that I got involved with politics, was exactly 6 years ago.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, 2018 is when I got involved. And so I didn't really get to know who ran against him. I didn't get to
you're
know
forgiven. I can understand.
I don't know who ran against him. If from what I understand, he was a shoo-in. He just got right in there. I don't know who ran against him.
I'm just so suspect because, as you say, this person hasn't been around, and what it appears that what she is running on is her dad.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but we've all seen that. That's not necessarily enough.
I'd be I'm good with Trump's son. If Trump's son wants to run, I'm down, you know.
But he's been involved.
He's been heavily
He's gone
involved.
in Phoenix. We had a Trump center, and he was there. I got to meet Eric, and I think I saw Junior. But, you know, they're involved and engaged. And as you said, you know, you and I are involved enough in Republican politics. Is she live here? She probably lives in San Diego.
No, she's out of Lordsburg area, I believe.
Oh, that's not too far from here.
Deming, Lordsburg area, yeah.
So if she were engaged and truly serious about it, okay, we should have seen her like at the last event or meeting for Doniana.
I didn't even know she was
the
alive.
County is right there, Lordsburg, right there. I think Lordsburg's another county, but we're right next door.
Oh, actually, I did deal with her at a certain level. We were brokering a big real estate deal out there in the Lordsburg area.
But nothing political.
No,
it
it was a
political.
business thing. It was a business thing. And I was just like, look, I love Ben Luna. I want to do what I can to support him. I don't like seeing really good candidates like Mr. Luna get primaried. I think that's just so silly and self-destructive. So I'm going to do what I can to support Mr. Luna. You know, hey, if she wants to run, that's her right, but I don't think it's very smart.
Well, and all we need to do is have a debate or a forum, and he will probably wipe the floor with her.
Oh yeah, no problem. I mean, but see, the problem with a lot of these guys, like look at Nikki Haley. You know, she doesn't want to debate. She canceled the last debate. She was supposed to debate Trump last week, but she said no, she didn't want to debate him because she knows she was going to get smashed.
Can't do it, yeah.
She can get smashed. And I challenge people to debates all the time because I'll win. I know there's not one person in the state of New Mexico that can beat me in a debate. Not one person. Name them. You can't because I know more and I'm better.
Maybe Ben could.
I love Ben. I wouldn't debate him out of respect because I think Ben's an amazing person. But I challenge Democrats all the time to debates. They won't do it. They won't do it. And even if they
You
do,
are very good.
If they do, it's like heavily skewed in their favor where they get the questions up front, you know, and And I'll still dominate. But the point is I agree with you. I hope that they debate. I hope she accepts the debate and Ben can get in front of her and they can debate. I think that would be amazing. But typically they just deny it. So that it's all about optics, right? They don't want to see the Hispanic male conservative dominating over this baby boomer who's living off of her father's name.
Okay, I have an out loud idea, okay? And Joey and Haley, by the way, okay, kudos to our wonderful production team, the Gangstas.
Gangstas, what's up, guys?
Joey and Haley. But, this would be cool. We could invite both of them to come here and we could do a debate. Could you set up like a microphone or two? And then we ask questions. Maybe we even have a few people in the audience. Could do that. And you know what? If she doesn't care to come, well, we'll just do it with Ben, and we can have like maybe a fake dummy here that we could dress up as her. Yes, and your response is nothing. Dead silence.
With that being said, guys, I am not suicidal. I love life. I don't plan on flying any random planes anytime soon. I mean, she's trying to get us taken out here. But so I agree. I agree. If we can set up a debate, let's do it. There's not enough of that going on. There's not. There's just not. And I think if this woman is worth her salt, she should easily accept a challenge and get in front of the public and the people and demonstrate with her vernacular, with her public speaking ability, that she's the right person for the job. We'll see.
I mean, there's so many questions that I can think of that I would like to ask her right now. Let's kind of maybe work on that a little bit.
We'll toss it around. I want it. I want it. But these debates are harder than you think, guys, because we got to find a moderator because we're biased. We're obviously super conservative, pro Ben Luna. So it can't be us asking the question. So we got to find a moderator.
We could even say, she could bring someone, from her side or whatever. Or we can just take questions that are not our questions, maybe questions from the audience. Could have her, which that would open up her people too, and we could just ask them.
And if we're going to do that, I think we might as well do it with all the candidates, right? I mean, we might as well, if we're going to set up the stage and get the thing rolling, we might as well get as many candidates on board as we can so we can just knock it out.
If they have more than one candidate.
Even
if they don't, we want to interview as many candidates as possible.
For other seats that are coming, there's congressional seats coming up, there's Senate seats coming up, there's a bunch of stuff, state legislator seats coming up. And this is for you guys. We do this because I love Alice because she's bringing her Maricopa County experience here to New Mexico. Over there in Maricopa County, where there's freaking 4 million people strong in that county, they got stuff like this all day where they know what's going on in the Republican Party. They know the candidates on an intimate level. They all know what's up. Here in New Mexico, it's like, I don't know what's going on. So we're trying to fix that and be transparent, introduce you guys to candidates, let you guys know what's going on in the Republican Party so we can fix our freaking state. So this debates really is like probably more important than anything else we're going to do, Alice.
Well, and being in Maricopa County, right there in Phoenix, the capital, it was easier for us. I'll give you that. But always, Chips and Salsa Show, it's always been our goal to have as many candidates as possible to interview on the Republican side, for sure, because we're conservatives and Republicans. Even if you watched the show last week with Don Jorge, we had the sheriff candidate who is Jerry Sheridan. It was a really good show if you want to go back and watch
Sheriffs
it.
are always awesome.
And he's good, and he talked about the border and things like that. It's all, even though you watch our show, and we might be more localized to New Mexico, we talk national issues and very local issues, it's all related because we all can help each other.
This world's freaking small.
Our goal is to let you at least get to know the candidates, because even in 10 or 15 minutes, the way that we talk, because I feel like, we know enough about politics, we can ask pretty good questions, and people are comfortable with us as well. And if you have someone, maybe you've got a candidate out there, ask them to please contact us, and we'd love to get them on. If they're conservative, we feel conservative, we're not shy about that. Sorry, we're not. There's the Democrats already have plenty of forums and places that they're on.
Right.
So we love to bring that.
And I should be in Santa Fe this Thursday for session and some other Republican stuff I got to do. If that's the case, if I am going to be there, there's an 80% chance I'll be there. I'm going to go live on the Instagram Chips and Salsa, and I'm going to interview some Republican candidates that I know that are awesome, that are running in Albuquerque.
Oh, and our Insta, is it just Chips and Salsa Show? How is it?
Chips and Salsa Show, just the
Chips, the letter N.
Yeah.
Right?
Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Rumble. We're going to start going heavier on the YouTube eventually, but right now we're happy to take clips and throw this on Instagram. You guys following us, you guys liking us, you guys sharing us helps us a ton. Thank you so much for that.
We really do appreciate it. We really do. I want to give a shout out because I don't want to forget. Coalition of Conservatives in Action. If you live here in the Las Cruces area, even if you live in El Paso or something, it's 45 minutes away. Thursday nights, 6 p.m. at Kitchen Craft over on Telshore, right next to Rudy's Barbecue. We have meetings, and we have really good speakers. Juan Garcia, who is the chairman, and Susan, excuse me, not Susan, Sarah Smith. Why am I thinking Susan? I got the S's in there. Sarah Smith. They are still doing their, going up against the schools for the pornographic
Thank
books.
God, yeah.
So they're always there, and they give you an update. So it's really, really a good place to attend if you have a chance, or follow us on Facebook as well. We do that. I also just want to give a quick little shout out to, so this is kind of a big week for Doña Ana County Republican politics.
Yeah, it's good.
The wards are getting together. I think my ward's getting together on Thursday, and then we're going to do, it's pre-primary caucus, right?
Right.
You have to educate me on this. And then on Saturday, we have the county primary convention. See, I don't know all this stuff. I'm in learning mode.
It's hyper confusing. I just show up to meetings when people call me and go, I show up. That's what I do.
You show up and you know what to do, right?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, and also, if you want to get into, we talked about crime earlier. Julia Reese, she is our crime committee person for the coalition, and you can reach her. Let me just give her email out real quick. It's Reese, R-U-I-Z, Julia, R-U-I-Z, Julia, at proton.me. There is Board of County Commissioners meeting tomorrow. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on. If you can, maybe you're retired and you can hit a meeting, or you can watch them online. That's what I end up doing a lot of times, because it's hard to take the time and go down there and sit for a few hours, and some of it's not pertinent. There's just housekeeping things they got to do. So I always like to give a shout out for that. I'm so excited that you're going to go to Santa Fe, because that way when you come back, you can give a report. And also, I want to plug, you've got some great stuff going on too with your health shows. You don't talk enough about that. Take a minute and let the audience know.
If you guys, I've had a lot of really positive feedback on the Zeke Rodriguez show, where I talk about 40% politics, but 60% of it's lifestyle, wellness, and relationships. Today I talked about what men actually look for in a woman. I think I talked to a lot of single women, and
besides physical traits, which there is more than that. There's more to that. So I talk about that. You can follow me on Instagram on Zeke Rodriguez, NM Zeke, and on Facebook, NM Zeke Rodriguez as well. Check out my show. I go live every single Monday from 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. I'll be doing them live for a while. Then I'm going to segue onto YouTube eventually. But yeah, I've had really good responses to the show. It's controversial as it is. People love it. I guess, I don't know, people like to get their emotions kicked into gear, I guess, but hey, it is what it is. I'm just trying to basically, with my show, solve the problems that we're dealing with society. People aren't getting married, people aren't having kids, so I'm trying to help with that, with relationships. People are more unhealthy now than ever, so I try to help people with health and wellness pointers. And then politics. The reason why this world's falling apart is because we don't talk about politics enough, so I always tie in politics to all this stuff, because we need to be talking about it to fix things. So yeah, please tune in there. Do you come on at a regular time?
Yeah, every Monday at 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. I go live. It's about 45 minutes to an hour, and then that's posted too. So I go live. You can just tune in to me while you guys are getting ready to work. You know what I mean? While you're eating breakfast, just listen to me. Talk noise about relationships and politics and stuff. I try to make it as fun as I can, and I try to give you as much value as I can as well. Things that you can actually implement into your life, things that actually can change your life in a positive way.
Well, I want to plug it because you and I have now known each other about a year and a half, maybe.
About a year and a half, yeah, not too long.
And we talk a lot about medical things, and just on that and everything that we've discussed. Zeke has a really good, interesting knowledge of things, and is not closed-minded.
No,
I'll tell you that.
Oh, no.
I'll tell you that, and open to learn from each other as well. So if there's this is so interesting. Guess who's calling me now? My naturopath from Phoenix.
Oh, see?
Did you hear me talking? You heard me talking.
So we're getting here to wrap it up real quick. I want to end on one quick note. So we're going back, just real quick, to go back to Ben Luna, him getting primaried by a lesser qualified candidate. So this is why Javier Milei won as an independent, as a libertarian candidate. He wasn't a Republican, he was a Democrat. So with things,
is he still a libertarian?
He's a libertarian.
Okay, he's still.
So with things like this, like our good, amazing conservative candidates getting primaried, I can see why you want to go to a third party, because our own party is starting to destroy itself, primarying the good candidates, and it's so blatantly obvious. If you don't see that now, guys, that's something you got to notice. Like, when you got a good, powerful candidate like Ben Luna and they try to primary him, man, that is so self-destructive. I can see why Javier Milei would start his own party. But thankfully, we have Trump and the MAGA Republicans who have taken over the Republican Party, and we're still a glimmer of hope in the Republican Party. So I just wanted to end on that note that I still have hope. We outnumber them. We just got to get involved, guys. One voice goes a long way. Please get involved with the Republican Party. Stay healthy, stay fit. Tune into my show, 0730 to 0830 every Monday morning. Zeke Rodriguez Live. Alice Lara, it's a pleasure being here with you, as always.
It always is, and I always want to encourage you. So even if you don't have the time, maybe you're working, you've got kids, and because I don't have any time to do that. Next time you talk to your neighbor for 5 minutes, just bring up the topic. You don't have to get nasty. Just bring it up so at least it's in their head for just a few minutes. It's so important. We have a country to save.
And we're winning. We won the culture war. I mean, everything that I've been espousing to and talking about over the past 4 or 5 years, I was freaking right about. I tell everybody's like, why are you planning on running for high office, or why are you running for? Because I've been freaking right, dude. That's why people respect me, because
and
the things I say.
Very modest. No, I'm teasing.
Yeah. I mean, look.
Hey, if you can brag, you can brag.
The lockdowns and the mask, for instance. You know, people thought I was freaking crazy about that, and look who's laughing now, buddies. Exactly.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you. It's always a pleasure to do the show with you. I'm just so glad. You know, there's a reason I moved back to New Mexico, and we're doing the Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. A plug for Chips and Salsa Show, Arizona as well. And who knows, maybe one day we'll have a Texas and a California. You just never know.
We're working on that. We're working on California to get on board.
You know?
And hopefully
you guys are going to have to, get your bigger studios. What can I say?
They'll accommodate. They'll kick out. They always do. And yeah, hopefully we'll work on the debate for you guys. We got thumbs up from the studio to get the debate going. We're going to work on that for you guys. We love you guys. Thank you all so much for all the support. Go to our YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on Rumble. Like the post. Share the post. We love it. We love you guys. Thank you, Alice.
Muchas gracias from Alice Lara and
Zeke Rodriguez, the sexy New Mexican. What's up? What's up? Later, guys.
Bye-bye.
It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's the Latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
Everybody loves chips and salsa.